Welcome to the Stellar Hour. Today is Wednesday, February 27th. It's been a long time since I've recorded a show, mainly because I made a really big change in my life and I started working again in corporate. I had been working as an executive leadership coach for the last 8 years, and an opportunity came up for me to work for a year as a director in a corporate role again. And I thought, this could be really interesting. What would it be like to move as being a coach and go back into working in the corporate world again and see what have I learned and can I do what I coach people to do? And I'll tell you, at times I've been an abysmal failure. And it hasn't become any more clear to me than it has in the past week. So I realized that I have people on my team who are really awesome. And you know how I can tell they're really awesome? It's because they are energized, they are full of possibility. When problems come up, they're energized by it. And we talk about how things could be different and what the possibilities are versus the people on the team who are, well, let's just kind of say maybe not as competent. I'm going to call them middlers. Okay. So the middlers will tell me how things can't be done. They provide a lot of resistance. Oh, awesome, right? And it takes a lot of emotional energy. And I realized that, oh my God, what I've been coaching people to do, I'm challenged doing in myself. And I kind of feel like an imposter at times. It's like I realize that I've maybe been, well, maybe been bypassing myself a little bit as I've been coaching. And even though I reflect back on what I experienced, I realize that it's a lot more difficult to be in the moment and have to engage with another person than it is for me to be coaching a person and helping them such that they're going to be more effective in a communication they're going to have with another person. It's a very different experience. And the different experience is around emotion. And I think we really underestimate how powerful emotion is, and that people who are the middlers use emotion in ways to make people who are competent feel incompetent. I know it sounds a little bit strange. So here's where I'm going. Um, People who are less competent, the middlers, never want to be revealed for being less competent, and they really don't want to learn. They want to keep doing what they've always done. And so somebody new coming in who presents opportunities is a threat. And they've got to be sabotaged because they have to do what they've always done. And so the person who is coming in with different possibilities or ways of doing things, the threat has to be minimized. And we see this happening all the time. It happens more often than not in our culture today. And we see it by people focusing on data. We just need more data. We see it in the form of indecision. People can't make decisions. We see it in that, oh, we all have to contribute. We all have to be collaborative, but that's not really true. And so there are a myriad of ways in which this all shows up. And as a leader dealing with this today, it's really freaking challenging. And so it's like I realize this with myself, and it's like I know it's happening, and I'm getting caught up in it. And so it's been so horrific for me to realize that I should know better, and I do know better, but it doesn't change the experience that I'm having, and that I'm getting caught up by the emotion that these people are creating. And I can sense it in myself, I can feel it in myself. And it's like these sensations coming up that make me just like not even want to engage or just say, hey, shut up. And I realize that's not really helpful. So I think that somehow maybe the universe gave me this gift of being back in the corporate world again to learn and to learn more deeply or to comprehend at a much deeper level than I thought I knew. I thought I'd already mastered this stuff, but obviously I haven't, because I'm still getting caught up in it and I'm still challenged by it. And so I'm having to test different things, and it's really with myself. I was thinking yesterday that, you know what? Leadership is an inside job. It's not about me motivating the other person. It's not about me doing something for the other person. It's really about me being able to manage me in relationship with that other person. And to the degree that I can manage myself with the other person, I'm more successful in that relationship. When I get caught up with the emotion from the relationship or with that person, like, oh, even though I hate Kurt Lewin, I'm going to bring him up. The force field being emotion. So, like, when negative emotion comes up, it's contagious. It's contagious as hell. And it's like it's really hard not to get caught up in it. And even when you're aware of it, it's hard not to get caught up in it. And it's like it's so powerful. And this is why I'm making a little bit of a jump here. Social engineers use it. They know how to manipulate us. And they know how to get us to do it against ourselves. Excuse me, this is my dog fucking up. I'll go get them real quick. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, we have two Belgian Malinois puppies, or should I say gremlins. They take a lot of time and energy. I remember when I spoke to a trainer, he's like, "You got two of them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, the breeder said it would be good." And he's like, "Yeah, do you realize what you did?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. We're learning, learning through it. It's a lot of work." Anyway, so going back into this, what I'm really learning is that, um, and it's something I thought I knew, but I didn't. And so it's about um, being open to learn, even though it's really difficult, and getting over yourself or getting over myself, because I really watch my pronouns. So it's about getting over myself and realizing that I still have more learning to do. That I thought I had this down and that I wouldn't be so affected by it as I am, and yet I'm affected by it. I find myself struggling because it's hard in relationship because I want to be a good person. And so to be a good person, do I really say, "Hey, you really screwed up on this?" Or the other thing that I find very challenging about this is that the middlers are brilliant in the space of ambiguity because they are doing things that it's really hard to call them on because it can seem so subjective, but you know they're obfuscating, you know that they're doing things, but it's not really overt. And so it's hard to find factual things that you can state that say, "Hey, here's what I know you're doing," because they're great at wielding that sort of emotion and manipulation in such a way that it's hard to really pinpoint what they're doing, but you know it's what they're doing. And it's so frustrating. And that's their little special elixir or their special drug, is knowing that they drive other people crazy. And their goal is to make people who are competent feel incompetent. And that's what happens. It's like, I know I'm really competent at what I do. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been very successful. And yet I find that I'm 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 really struggling with this. And my friend Mary pointed out something really brilliant to me, where in the past I would externalize what I felt. I would get mad and angry and I'd blame well, I blame other people. Okay, it's true. I did. And now, because I'm trying to manage myself better, I'm internalizing it. And it almost makes me feel impotent because I don't know what to do with it. And so it's like, how do I navigate this? And what I realize is that empathy doesn't work. You cannot empathize with people who are using emotion because they love it. It's like when you're trying to empathize with them, you're giving them exactly what they want. So you have to be really factual about it. And you have to be really crisp and clear about what you're experiencing and be very succinct about it and be very modulated and succinct in what you're saying. Because the more you say or the more you over explain, you're just giving them fodder. You're giving them the opportunity to manipulate you even more. And it's like, I find this so interesting to experience for myself and how hard it is. And I think this is something that's really important to pay attention to. This is not easy work. Managing yourself is not easy. It's so much easier to think that change means other people have to change. If only he should, if only she would, then I'm going to be okay. If people would just do their jobs, if that person would just do what they're going to say, But you know what? That's not going to happen. So if people are who they are, how are you going to be? How am I going to be? What am I going to do differently? And I'm in the middle of it right now. And it's a great learning experience. It's like this contract position for me is like training wheels. It's about me getting to practice before I take another job. Because you know what? I'm not going to work for myself again. I'm done coaching. It's exhausting. It's not what I thought it was. And I'm going to do another show around that too, discuss and reveal what I discovered about coaching is really all about communitarianism and the we factor, not about being an individual. It's really not about leadership. It's really the exact opposite of all of that, but that's another story. What I want to focus on now is um, really recognizing that when you feel caught up, you probably are caught up. And it's really easy to say, oh, you just need to self regulate. Well, what does that really mean? Well, people say, oh, just breathe through it, be present in the moment. Okay. Well, again, what does that mean? What do I do? And what I realized for myself, it means shut up. It means observe and listen and ask curious questions and say less than more, and then reflect on it. So I find that reflection has been phenomenally important to me. And what's really weird is my reflection often comes up in the middle of the night. So I find that I'll be dreaming and I wake up and I can't go back to sleep. And then I'm like, oh, I might as well just get up, which it's a really vicious circle or cycle. So I get up and I journal about it and I get reflection, and it's exhausting. So I guess it sounds really negative, doesn't it? But it's not, because it's just it's a period of time. It's not going to be forever. But what I realize in doing it is that I am getting a lot through it. I reflect through it. And it's through that reflection that I've begun to realize that, you know what, I don't want to work with mean people. Here's the thing. I am sick and tired of working with people who are mean and who want to sabotage. I want to work in an environment where we can work together. Are there going to be some dysfunctions? For sure. But I don't want to work in a place where people are just like looking to preserve their like little squirrel nest and keep their little acorns together, and not share them with others. And where I can be more collaborative and share, and not feel that if I share what I have and what I know, that I'm going to be a threat to other people. This I had no idea until recently. And I'm old, believe me. I mean, I have struggled with this for decades. I never realized that I was afraid of being too much, that if I am who I am, I'm going to be threatening to other people. And it was like, wow, that was such an amazing awareness. And I don't want to live my life that way anymore. I want to be able to be who I am, and not just say, hey, you have to take me for who I am, but to be able to be who I am, um, in a way where I'm respectful of others and respectful of myself, but not have to feel all the time like I'm walking on eggshells, you know? And that's kind of going to be a hard thing, because the world that we're living in today is a world where people are expected to walk on eggshells, where we're expected to don't offend anybody, or be politically correct, be tolerant of things that are not accepting of that we shouldn't be accepting of being tolerant about. And so I think that we're living in a place that's really, if we're really expected, if we want to be individuals, to practice things that are really difficult to do. It's hard. Change doesn't happen overnight. It's like this whole thing of, oh, change happens in 30 days is bullshit. I'm sorry. I am telling you right now, it does not take 30 days. It takes like 7 years. I think every cycle takes about 7 years. And it takes time to incorporate awareness into practice. It's one thing to be aware of things, like I was super aware, but now that I'm leading again, I'm having to put it into practice. It's a very different thing. And I realize that there's no easy fix. I can't take a pill. There's no course I can take. There's no leader who's going to tell me, or a coach who's going to tell me, hey, Kathy, here's what you have to do. Because you know what? In the moment when I'm dealing with my middler, they're not there with me. I'm there with me. Only me. It's an inside job. I'm the one that's doing it. And how am I showing up in the moment? What's most important to me? Is it like being right? Or is it about how I really want to be? What do I aspire to? being right is going to ensure that I'm probably doing what I've always done. I am going to, if I'm right, what does that really mean? And it's like it's something I see all the time with people. It's like we want to be right so we're not wrong. And if I'm wrong, I made a mistake. And I'll share, like the last week or so, I've been working on something at work. I know it sounds redundant, where there weren't a lot of instructions and things were really complex in a way that I would never have created it, but I had to deal with it. And I made some mistakes, and I was mortified. I was like so full of shame because I made mistakes, and I feel like I'm a pretty competent person, but I felt so incompetent when I made those mistakes. And it was like I found myself not even wanting to acknowledge I made the mistakes, but I did. And so then I had to say to myself, Kathy, what is it about those mistakes that you want to distance yourself from? What's being shown to you, and are you willing to accept it? It's like there's so much being shown to me. Am I willing to accept it? And I think that's what this world is about. Like I struggle all the time. Did I really choose to come here? If that's even true, I mean, who knows? I mean, is reincarnation true, or what is all of this? I don't know. I don't pretend to know. But jokingly, if I say, hey, I came back to this, did I really choose this? And if I did, why? Well, I guess it's because it's hard. And what's valuable doesn't come because it's easy. It comes because you're willing to put yourself out, and you're willing to do the difficult things, and you're willing to stretch yourself. And that's not always easy, and it doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to work out. And I can tell you that from experience. And yet I am so appreciative of this experience for showing me. Because if I wasn't in relationship with these challenges, with these other people, I wouldn't be able to see what I didn't see about myself. And so I guess that's my message. It's like, how do we learn from each other? How do we take what seems so difficult and not complain about others, even though sometimes you might want to spend a few minutes and say, can you believe what they did? And then you take that and you say, hey, but can I believe what I did? Can I believe how I responded to that? And how do I really want to be? Well, what's my own inner morality? What's my own responsibility in this? And I think that's what's really so important. And what's really cool is like I see people who are gravitating towards this and that, who are coming together and who want to learn more about this. And I'm going to continue to share about this. So thank you very much for watching tonight. And good night.